Whoa, can I help you?
Potato Man.
Where the hell have you been?
Hello everyone. Today we will talk about one of the great tipping points in European history, the Battle of Hastings, the results of which destroyed Vikings' ability to pose real threats to the rest of Europe, ended Saxon dominion of England, and altered future English military weaponry and battle tactics for the rest of the medieval era. Firstly though, it is worth mentioning that the Battle of Hastings didn't actually happen at the village, instead occurring at a place conveniently named Battle, which I visited with my mother some years ago. Now, let us discuss the context of the battle. After centuries of internal strife, Viking invasions, and political instability, all the Saxon kingdoms in England had finally been united in 927. More than a century later, Edward the Confessor was crowned King of England. His name came from the fact that he was known to be very devout and regularly visited priests for confession. He also never had any children, so when he saw his death was near, in January of 1066, he appointed one of his lords, Harold, to be the new King of England. Simple, peaceful transfer of power. However, two other men claimed that Edward had promised them the crown upon his death. One of them was the famed Norwegian King Harald, not to be confused with King Harold of England. The other was William, Duke of Normandy. While many historians generally dispute the claims that Edward offered either of them the crown, let alone both, that didn't really matter in a feudal system where if the Lord says go fight for me, you do. As William gathered his forces, building ships while awaiting favourable winds, Harold also began making preparations. However, as William was stuck waiting for these winds, and harvest season edged closer, Harold was forced to disband the army. Then, in September of 1066, King Harald arrived in the north of England and defeated a force there. Harold had to quickly reassemble the army he had just disbanded to march north and defeat Harald. Worse still, Harald was being supported by Harold's own brother Tostig. Harold would win against his brother and Harald, killing both, and wiping out so much of the Viking forces that they never mounted another invasion force ever again. So, victory. Harold's reign was secure. Except, no. Pretty much the day he defeated the Vikings, he got word that William had finally been able to cross the Channel and secured a beachhead. So, after marching for a week and fighting a battle, Harold again had to march for another week to another battle. This was only October. He'd only been king for 10 months at this point. Harold knew that the Normans preferred using horsemen and archers, so he seized the high ground. And he packed his men close together with giant shields. He had to wait for the Normans to charge, and he could pick them off bit by bit. William did do a couple charges, but seeing it wasn't working, did something else. He ran away. He ordered his troops to run from the Saxons in a specific way that a few, but enough, of the Saxons assumed that they were in complete rout, and gave chase despite Harold ordering them to stay in formation. The damage was done, however. Some of the Saxons were moving down the hill, out of formation, vulnerable. More than that, there were holes in the lines. Archer fire and flanks then tipped the battle slightly into William's favour. Then, the decisive moment of the battle. An army cannot function without a command structure. First, both of Harold's brothers were killed pursuing the, quote, retreating Normans. Then, Harold was killed. It is not known exactly how, but many accounts say that an arrow went into his eye. With the king and all his brothers dead, the remaining Saxons were disorganized and eventually overwhelmed. The smart ones fled the losing battle. William had won. There would be rebellions and risings here and there, but his rule was cemented in this battle. He would forever be known as William the Conqueror, and was crowned King of England on Christmas Day, 1066, less than a year after Edward the Confessor's death. In his reign, he would revolutionize the tax system, change how castles were designed and built, incorporated the use of cavalry and especially archers into the army at a far greater capacity, and basically changed how the entire political and social system of England worked. Thank you.